What do men want?
Manifests itself in relationships, and you feel it in relationships, and they can be very powerful spiritually. And if that's what you need, that's what you should go for.
And she said, oh, I'm going to go do a sweat lodge this evening. And I begged her to take me along, and that was about 6 years ago.
Welcome to Speaking of Men. This is Public Access Television from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm your host, Mike Rivas. As we begin the new year, many of us take that vow to start paying attention to our diet and get ourselves into shape. Today's program takes a look at what has become both a major trend in our popular consciousness and a major industry in America, with magazines, vitamins, sports equipment, personal trainers available from coast to coast. We're speaking today with Chris Coyle, owner of the Pro Gym. Chris is a personal fitness trainer. He has a degree in health fitness. He's certified by the American College of Sports Medicine as a health fitness instructor. And we'll be spending a few minutes with Chris this afternoon just talking about how you might take that personal resolve and carry through into a little bit better physical, mental, and spiritual in 1992. With the economy the way it is, God knows you're going to need it. Chris, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
How did you, tell us how you became interested in being a physical fitness trainer and in physical fitness, and what led you to choose that field as a career?
Well, Mike, I had always been, as a child, I'd always been involved in sports, basketball, football, and baseball. And as I got a little older in high school, I chose football. And my father said, Chris, if you're going to play football, you need to start putting on a little muscle, get a little bit stronger, and it'll help you with the sport and it'll help protect you a little bit so you don't get hurt. So he started me on the program, and he showed me how to do everything properly and right. And I started making some gains, and I made some gains pretty fast during high school. And I also saw a lot of kids working out who didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have proper instruction. And a lot of them would get hurt, or they would just get discouraged because they didn't have the gains that they should be making. And that started getting me a little bit more motivated, seeing the changes in my body, seeing how it helped me in sports and in everyday life. Just regular activities were a lot easier because you're a little bit stronger, you can move a little better. So I chose my field in college as health fitness. I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts and went there for 4 years, graduated in 1984, and I became more involved in it, seeing how it helped your body, the internal workings of your body. How not just everybody was saying aerobic exercise, all the benefits that it does. And recently they've come out with how weight training also helps your body, the internal workings of it. And so now it's a combination of not just aerobic type exercise, but also the weight training and the building of the muscle. And it's very interesting and it's very rewarding to see people improve, to see people who have had problems with their back or a knee or a shoulder, and they think they can't exercise because of that, and design a program for them and see how they can do it, and watch them improve and see how their quality of life improves with it. And they're very thankful for it, and it just helps them throughout their everyday life.
And it's fun, too.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know that.
Yeah, well, the last time I wore this shirt on this program, my it was like this because of my fat belly. I've lost about 20 pounds in 3 months. I feel real good about that. We all start out with the best intentions in the world usually, and then our program and our resolve kind of slips away. How can we make some honest assessments of where we are and where we'd like to be, and set some realistic goals for a little bit better physical?
Well, Mike, everybody is different. Not everybody can be a bodybuilder. Not everybody can have that body of Arnold Schwarzenegger, or the women, the body of the models out there. Everybody isn't made that way. One of the best ways to assess yourself is stand in front of the mirror, look at yourself. If you like what you see, then it's good. If you don't, then it's time to start something. That's the best way to do it. There are other ways where you get physically assessed in skin folds and strength tests and sub-max stress tests, but that's a little bit more intricate and most people don't need to do. It's a general feeling of well-being. If you feel good about yourself or if you don't feel good about yourself, that's when it's time to start.
Kind of let your conscience be your guide.
Yes, yes.
We have some important public messages program for you here, and we hope that you'll stay with us because we will be right back.
Give your child honest but specific praise in many different areas. Find things to encourage about your child's weak points as well as her strong points. Look for small successes and silver linings, even in bad situations. You might say something like, "It took courage to tell me about the grade you got on that science test."
Hello, I'm Barbara Bush. Many of our children have disabilities. They may have trouble walking, seeing, hearing, or learning. Finding ways to meet their learning needs is not always easy. If you have a child who needs special help, you should know about the National Information Center for Children and Youth with Handicaps. The center can help you find the right kind of help for your child.
Welcome back to Speaking of Men. I'm your host, Mike Rivas. We're speaking today with Chris Coyle, owner of the Pro Gym, but he's also a personal fitness trainer, and we're talking about getting in shape mentally, physically, and spiritually. Chris, you and I were saying that all health guidelines are only as good as the commitment of the person involved. And this, of course, that's not true just in the physical process because it affects us mentally, spiritually as well. What are some of the benefits that somebody could expect to see if they stuck with it?
Mike, as you were saying, the main thing is no matter what kind of program you're on, how good or how bad it is, the only way you're going to improve is with consistency. If you start something, you have to keep going with it. You know with your own program that you have to stay consistent with it to make the gains that you have made already. Right. The benefits that you can receive from it, physically, there's a reduction in body fat. There's an increase in lean muscle tissue. In other words, you've gotten a little stronger, you're a little bit more firm, a little bit more tone. There's benefits that you can't see. Benefits like lowering your blood pressure, lowering your triglyceride level, lowering your stress level. Exercise is the best way to reduce your level in stress. And a lot of people don't realize that. There's also some other benefits, a high self-esteem. Once you start feeling good about yourself, it shows in your everyday life. It shows in your work. It shows in just your relationships with people. You feel good about yourself, and you start feeling good about everything else in your life. And physical exercise, no matter to what degree you take it, helps you with that.
America seems to be fueled by caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, sugar, and bleached flour. And of course, there's a tremendous amount of concern about diet in America these days as being a real killer. And I wondered if you could give us some common sense approaches to just eating better. Okay,
Mike. The main thing that people are doing with their eating now in America is their fat level is so high. There's so many things that people eat they don't realize are high in fat. They eat peanut butter, for instance, because they think it's a good source of protein, and it is, but it's an even better source of fat. Fried foods, fast foods, people go crazy for that stuff. And it's just increasing their amount of fat that they take in, which increases their triglyceride level, which can increase their blood pressure, which increases their body fat. Also, the sugar, you know, people taking a lot of sugar. That gets burned off quickly, but if you're not exercising, it'll start to get stored as fat, which will increase again your body fat. And all of this, if you're not exercising, is very detrimental to your own health. You feel a very lethargic feeling, very tired and slow. And a good diet is a good way to start your physical fitness program.
So what would you do? Maybe instead of having eggs and bacon, have cereals, or I mean, what?
If you enjoy eggs, you can still have eggs. Just take the yolks out of them. The yolk is the main part of where the fat is. Just have the egg whites. You can have scrambled eggs, scrambled egg whites. Cereal is good too, the whole grain cereals, low-fat milk. Just watch your labels on the food that you buy and look at it for the percentage of fat or for the total grams of fat. A lot of things out there will say 95% fat-free, and if you actually look at the label, they'll have 50 calories and 4 grams of those calories are from fat. Well, that's 36 calories. So you're taking in over 70% of the calories are from fat. So you have to, don't just look at it where it says light or lean or 95% fat-free. Look at the breakdown of the calories.
Need to get a little bit more conscious about your. You have to actually go out and make a conscious effort to look at the labels. And you know, there's a young fellow named Dwayne Kindleberger.
Yes.
That works out at the Pro Gym, and Dwayne is an amateur bodybuilder. And I assume he's put quite a few hours into developing the physique that he has. You were nice enough to bring a short film of his, and we thought we might take a look at it just to see where you can go if you really wanted to get physically fit and physically minded. I'm sure they'll put that up in just a moment or two.
Okay. Yeah, there's Dwayne now. He's this is the epitome of exercise and fitness. It's as you can see, he has no body fat on him at all. He's worked hard for this. Usually the diet for this is like 12 to 14 weeks, and it consists of a real low fat intake. Also, the hours of aerobic type exercise, riding the bike, walking, jogging, swimming, to burn off the body fat, besides the weight training that he's done in the gym. And put an hour and a half to 2 hours a day of lifting weights in the gym. And then the time spent posing, just teaching your muscles when to flex when you want them to flex, takes hours and hours of practice. And Dwayne is one of the better bodybuilders, if not one of the best, in Albuquerque. And he's going into a show coming up March 7th. That's at the Kiva Auditorium. It's the Mid-USA, and right now he's preparing for that. So I wish him the best of luck in that. He's a really good bodybuilder.
This is something you really have to put some time and effort into.
A lot of time and effort into it, and not everybody can achieve this.
It's not just bodybuilding, it's any sport
Yes.
that you wanted to get good at. You have to have that commitment again and that follow through.
Yes.
What are some of the first steps in setting up a program, Chris?
The first thing you have to do is make a commitment to yourself. You have to sit down and say, I have this much time that I can give to this fitness program. There's so many different programs that you can be put on, that a good trainer can put you on, but it all has to be based on the amount of time you're willing to give. If you say you're going to give 5 days a week and you don't, you can only give 2 or 3, then you need to be put on a program that's going to save you, that's going to set the time aside for 2 or 3 days. To get started on a program, you need to have, if you don't know what you're doing to start with, which is a drawback to a lot of people, they don't get started on a program because they don't know how. And what you need to do is find somebody to show you how. There's a lot of people in town that can do that. Just talk to them, find out their credentials, find out if they have any certifications, if they have any education, get some people who they have trained, talk to them, find out how they like them, okay? And then they will help you get set up on a program. And you want to learn how to do it properly. If you don't learn how to do it properly, you'll either end up hurting yourself, or you won't make the gains that you want to make, so you'll lose your motivation and you'll stop. And that's a problem with people, is they lose their motivation or they get injured because they don't know properly what they're doing.
So you need to make it fun.
Yes, you need to make it fun, and you need to make the commitment, and you need to learn how to do it right.
Any differences in the way men and women should approach it?
No, not really, Mike. There shouldn't be any difference. A lot of women in the past have just done the aerobics. And just doing aerobic exercise is good. It's good for toning the muscles, and it's good for the cardiovascular. But recently, in the past few years, a lot more women have been getting into weight training. And they really like it once they get past that barrier. A lot of them have this image of themselves getting so big that, you know, they don't want to lift weights because they don't want to get big. And that's not going to happen with women. 1 in a million women has that much of the male hormone in them to get that big, and they're not going to. They're going to tone up, they're going to get firm, they're going to get stronger, and they're going to feel a lot healthier. So there really shouldn't be a difference. It's just a myth or a misconception that some women and men have about exercise and weight training.
So what are some of the ways that people maybe not interested in coming down and actually signing up for a club or a spa could begin to get a little bit more physically fit at home?
There's different exercises that they can do. One of the best ones and the least harmful, or the one that can cause the least injury, is walking. That's one of the best exercises that there is. Also riding a bike, swimming, doing some jogging, calisthenics at home, any type of sit-ups, push-ups, anything like that. If you get yourself on a set program where you're going to do it every day or every other day, so that way you set aside that time and you do it. Most people, if they don't have a club or they don't go somewhere else, they'll come home from work and they'll sit down in front of the TV and they'll say, I'm tired, I'm just going to watch TV for a little while, and then that's it. The day goes by and they go to sleep and they haven't done their exercise because they haven't been in that environment of exercise. So it's up to the individual. If they have the motivation, it's great, because now they don't have to go to someplace else and pay out the money to train someplace else. They just go home and do it and get it out of the way in their own home environment. But it takes a special person to have that type of drive to go home and exercise, and when they can sit down and watch TV.
That loss of energy, there's a real payback in the amount of energy. You make a commitment to working out. Mm-hmm. The payback on that is you have a tremendous amount of energy.
Oh, yes.
That you don't normally have.
Yes.
And you get home and sit, you're not as likely to sit down and turn on the television and do nothing. It just seems reinforcing. The more you work out, the more energy and stronger you are. Each person is, of course, an individual, and some are born with almost perfect bodies, and some of us, of course, have to fight for every little bit of gain that we get. Any guidelines? And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but it might stand repeating here. You got any guidelines on making an assessment again?
People should set realistic goals for themselves. If you set a goal that's not attainable, like you say you want to look like somebody else, that's basically a wrong goal to set. You can't say, I want to look like so-and-so, because you can't. You're not that person. You are yourself. With hard work, with dedication, with consistency, you can look the best that you can look. Okay? And it just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of knowing your own limitations and not getting discouraged if you're not looking like a model or like a professional bodybuilder, because not everybody will. You just have to try and do your best. and set your own realistic goals.
Is that, how much is that is just inherent? I mean, you see some guys that look like they, you figure they probably never picked up a weight in their life, and they're just almost cut just on the natch, huh?
There is a great deal to heredity or genetics, but also you can work with what you have to make yourself the best that you can be. It's just like any other sport. You have certain people in a certain sport that are the professionals, and they're better than you or I are going to be because they were given a certain gift, and they also spent more time at it. And everybody just work within your own limitations. Fitness is different than a sport.
We have some important messages for you. We hope you'll please stay with us because we'll be right back.
There is a mighty spirit shining out.
In Salisbury, Maryland, the hungry are being fed. In Wind Falls, Indiana, a man who learned to read at 47 is making sure others learn earlier. In Hope, New Mexico, people turned an abandoned school into a thriving community center. In Boston, Massachusetts, neighbors set up a crime hotline that's making their streets safer. From Seattle to Galveston, from Buffalo to Fargo, every day, someone in America is doing something to light up another life. But there is so much more to do. The light to do it is within us all. We only need to share it. Contact the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Shriners helped kids. Kids like Rich Belanger.
5 years ago, I lost my feet in an accident. Thanks to Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children, I've been able to remain as active as my friends. More active than some. And the care that I received at Shriners Hospitals didn't cost me and my family one penny. If you know someone under the age of 18 with a problem of the bones, joints, or muscles, the Shriners might be able to help.
Shriners Hospitals, 1-800-237-5055.
Welcome back to Speaking of Men. My name is Mike Rivas, and we're speaking with Chris Coyle, a personal fitness trainer and owner of the Pro Gym here in Albuquerque, and we're talking about getting in shape and doing it realistically and staying that way and having fun while we do. Chris, let's talk about weight as a problem. We were saying during the break, of course, that aerobics is one way to do that. Want to talk about that?
Well, Mike, people should look at it not as a weight loss, but as a fat loss. Just losing weight isn't always healthy. A lot of people go on these very low-calorie diets, and a lot of the weight that they lose is lean body weight or muscle tissue. Your body will react to this low-calorie diet as it's starving. So what it's going to do is store everything it can as fat and start burning your lean body weight as the energy. So yes, you'll get on the scale and you'll see a difference in your weight, but it's a loss in the lean muscle tissue. And what that does also is bring your metabolism down, because your metabolism is based on your lean body weight, on your muscle tissue. The less you have, the less energy your body needs to live. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. Look at it as a fat loss, not as a weight loss. That's why weight training is very important when you're trying to diet. While you're exercising, your body has that need for the lean muscle tissue. Okay, so it's going to keep it, and it may even grow a little bit. You'll start to use fat as energy, and that's where the aerobics comes in. Aerobic exercise, walking, riding a bike, jogging, doing aerobics classes, or the stair steppers. That type of exercise will utilize fat as its energy source, and that's a very important part of trying to lose body fat. It's also very beneficial for you, your cardiovascular fitness, your heart.
Well, it sounds like some of these diet things could be harmful for you if you didn't know what you were doing. I mean, some of the...
Yes, they can. They can. And a lot of people have been hurt by them. That's why you shouldn't look for the quick fix or the fad diets. You should do something that's a lifestyle change, a behavioral modification. Look towards a healthier diet and exercise, and do that for your entire life. You can drop 20 or 30 pounds real quick, but a lot of that's going to be water, a lot of that's going to be lean body tissue. And then most people will put that on plus more once they stop, because they haven't made that change in their pattern, and that's what they need to do.
That's good. That's good advice. You know, I brought a copy of Men's Fitness. Joe Whiter puts it out, and they had an article on there on liposuction for men who just had a little bit of fat tire. And you know, we've had all this controversy about women's implants, and a lot of this focus on physical beauty and perfection and doing things to your body that your body doesn't want done to it. You know, got anything to say about that on the overall?
Well, Mike, I think that's just like if you have a bad engine in your car and you paint it to make it look good. Well, it doesn't solve the problem. It looks good, but you still have the problem. Mm-hmm. If you're overweight and you use liposuction to help you change that problem, it's not making you healthier. It may make you look a little better. Of course, then there are some problems that could occur, you know, during the procedure, but you still have the same health problems or the same health risk because you're not doing any exercise. You're just taking the fat out of your body, but you still have the blood pressure, you still have the triglycerides in your blood, your heart is still functioning the same.
So it really what you're telling us is that who we need to be is who we are. Right. And that creating a physical fitness program tailored to ourselves individually, which is entirely possible, making a real attempt at a lifestyle change, not just scotching or covering up problems we might have, is the practical approach, and that fads are fads, and common sense is probably the way to take anything. That's right. We're down to the last couple of minutes. You have any advice for men and women who might be watching real quick?
Well, if you're not currently on a program, I suggest you do get on an exercise program.
You got a number they could call for that?
Yes, they can reach me if they have any questions at 294-1221, and I'll be happy to answer anything that they have.
Okay. I'll tell you what we're doing. We're down here in the last minute, 30 seconds of the program. So I'd like to thank you for being on and joining us today. It's good.
I enjoyed myself, and I hope I got the message across to people.
Oh yeah. And I'd also like to thank the crew who volunteer their time to come down and spend a Saturday afternoon in a beautiful January day with us. You can check your TV listings for the times that this program repeats. And I'd like to urge you to shoot from the hip and love from the heart. Come see us again, and bye-bye.